What's good, YouTube? My name is Coach, and in today's video, we're going to be talking about proxies. I am beyond grateful that not a lot of people share the same perspective that I have on proxies. I've been watching a ton of videos about people talking about proxies, and people are extremely understanding, empathetic, and kind in their discussions about proxies. Whereas my perspective is a bit different, mostly due to the experiences that I've had playing against proxies. And that's just my opinion, and I share it humbly, and I'm going to do my best to express this opinion in a manner that is respectful, that is funny and lighthearted and fun. However, just keep in mind that there is a serious undertone to this perspective, because the reality is that we have people playing with pieces of paper in games of Magic the Gathering. Before we begin with the video, just keep in mind that if you're subscribed to the channel and you comment on any one of the videos this week, you enter for a chance to win the weekly giveaway, which is a copy of Godzilla. Let's get this video to 20 likes. It's a really easy way to support me and to support this channel, and I genuinely appreciate the time you take to do that. Proxies. I think that, in my humble opinion, I think that anyone that goes to play Magic the Gathering, if they have proxies, they should be allowed to play with the proxies. I don't care what form of proxy it is, whatever you're doing, you can do whatever you want to do. And I think that that expresses and embodies the idea of fun. If you took the effort to be here today to play against us in Magic the Gathering, to have fun, then you should be allowed to do whatever you want to do. That is 100% my perspective and my belief. However, when we talk about proxies, to me, there needs to be, at least in my play group, if you have proxies, specifically the proxies that are pieces of paper written down, cards that don't look like the actual card. Listen, if you have proxies and it looks like the same exact card and I would never even be able to tell what it is, fine, you don't have to tell me, because when you play the card, there's zero confusion. However, if you have a piece of paper with a word on it that either you printed out on a sheet of paper or you wrote on it, in my play group, you have to take all of those cards or pieces of paper and set them down on the table and say, these are the proxies that I'm playing with. And I have to see them so that I am aware that they exist. So that, more importantly, everyone is aware that they exist. And to me, if you have a proxy that looks like that and you fail to mention that you're using that, when you use that card in the middle of the game, you automatically lose the game. You lose in my play group. Because when you're upfront about the reality that you're playing proxies, you can avoid some of the experiences that I'm going to share with you all that I had when I was playing against people with proxies. You know, I was playing a game on Spell Table one time, and this kid is playing Nevinroll, and the kid is casting a spell that's going to make everyone mill, I think, honestly, either 36 or 40 cards. And the player, I'm in the top left corner of the screen, the player on the bottom left corner of the screen casts a counter spell to stop this player from doing that. And then you know when you open a pack of Magic the Gathering cards, it'll have like an advertisement inside the pack. This kid pulls out a card and he basically shows us an advertisement really quickly, and then it says Pact of Negation, and then takes the card and then puts it under the bottom of his graveyard. Then it was just quiet for a moment. And then I was just like, dude, what was that? What'd you just play? And he was like, a pact of negation. And I was like, show us the card. What did you use? And then he goes, oh, it was a proxy that I made before the game started. I wrote it down on there with a Sharpie. And I was like, honestly, dude, when I saw that card, it looked literally just like one of the advertisement cards. Let me see the card. Show us the card. And he's like, nah, man, trust me. I wrote it on there with a Sharpie. Why would I do that? Why would I do something like that? And now every one of the table is like, come on, man, show us the card. And the kid is completely refusing to show us the card. And he never showed us the card because he had a card that was a blank card and needed it to be a copy of Pact of Negation in order for him to counter the counter spell so that he can mill us for 40 cards. What we ended up telling the kid was, listen, you know, you're playing against a bunch of adults right now. And just keep in mind that if you do this against people that lack the patience that we have, they're gonna report you over here on Play EDH and you're probably gonna get banned, just so you know. In another experience I had, I went to a local LGS and we're playing Commander. And in this LGS, we pay $5. And $5 is not much, but it's still money, bro. I gotta drive over there, right? I gotta pay gas money. And then I gotta pay $5 to sit down and play a game of Commander. And we're playing our game of Commander. And the winner of the game gets a prize pack or something. And this kid's playing the Squirrel Commander. And my dude's got a ton of tokens on the board. And, you know, we're all doing our thing and playing the game. It's a close game. And then out of nowhere, this kid is like, goes to his turn and he says, Craterhoof Behemoth. And it's a piece of paper. It's not even just a piece of paper. It's literally the notepad paper that they have inside the LGS, the little pieces of paper that they have inside the LGS that we use to keep our life totals. So the kid literally grabbed the piece of paper, ripped it off the notepad, wrote it down really quickly, and then shuffled it into his deck and started playing the game. In my mind, at least, that's what he did. And then when I looked down at the card, it said Craterhoff Behemoth. My dude just cast a Craterhoff Behemoth. And I look at him and I was like, that's not a Craterhoof Behemoth. And he's like, what do you mean? I was like, dude, that says Craterhoff Behemoth. And he's like, oh, I misspelled it. And mind you, at this point, like, you don't, until you lose or are about to lose to a Craterhoff Behemoth, you don't know how bad, you know, imagine somebody cast the spell that would destroy all your lands, says you can't play any spell for the next 2 turns, and then discard your entire hand. Imagine all that on one spell. That's what it feels like to lose to a Craterhoff Behemoth. And we're all sitting there looking at each other like, really? The kid says, yeah, that's 120 damage to each of you, trample, and I win the game. The kid immediately grabs his cards, goes to the front of the desk, and says, oh, I'm reporting I won the game. And then they gave him the pack and then the kid left. So this is my point when we talk about proxies. You have to sit there and you have to announce and you have to show the entire table the cards that you're using, specifically if they do not look like the cards that they actually are. Because the reality of the situation is that, listen, I can tell you that if I played Magic for the first time and somebody cast a piece of paper against me, I would have never played the game ever again. I would have stopped playing. There has to be some sort of accountability with proxies, and there has to be, and I'm grateful that I don't hear stories like Craterhoff Behemoth too often, because that means that people are probably being extremely fair with proxies, and I've just had these random experiences. to avoid those experiences, if you're playing with proxies, you have to show all of them before the game starts and say, look, these are the proxies that I'm using, and that's it. You don't even have to say, is it okay that I play with these proxies? Because listen, everybody is okay that you play with your proxies. Nobody cares. However, it's just a matter of respect. Because when you're sitting down paying $5 to play a game of Magic the Gathering and somebody casts a Craterhoff Behemoth, it's difficult for me to talk to you guys about this. You guys can hear me and you can understand what I'm saying. Oh, that makes sense. But emotionally, I don't know if you feel what I'm saying. You don't know what it's like to lose to a Craterhoff Behemoth. And that's the end of this conversation. Moral of the story, have fun, do whatever you want to do. Have fun. That's the whole point of the game. If that's what's going to allow you to have fun, if winning is that important to you, fine, write words on a piece of paper and play it. It's cool. If you do that though, you have to show all of the cards to everyone so everyone is aware of what you're doing. So that in the moments when you do cast those cards, because generally most of the time these cards are $50, $60, $70 cards that will win you the game on the spot, it feels a lot less bad because at least I saw and I'm just acknowledged that existed, as opposed to Craterhoff.